I'm just here to say something.
Like me, and so many people are like, I cannot believe it. I absolutely can. I so can. Like, I always got weird vibes from him. I knew it. And as well, like, a lot of these artists will go somewhere, not their own country, like, you know, Australia, think they can do what they want, and then fly back home to their normal life in the UK and kind of evade the law. I just, honestly, I knew it.
Yeah.
Before we start, obviously I don't want to air personal business, that's private. We were speaking last year, can't give you really time frames, and rekindled at Misfits. I actually know Philly, so at least the people that are watching this can have something based on someone that actually knows him, and not people speculating and just know him from seeing him on the internet and Girth and Turf. Philly is someone that I know and get on with, right, okay? I'm not here to say things did or didn't happen. All I'm here to say, to tell you even, is my side of the story. My experiences with Philly made me feel comfortable. When we rekindled this year, there was actually, I'm going to make a point of saying this, there was a point where he was like, if you don't want to do anything, if you don't want to, bear in mind we'd spoken last year, we'd been seeing each other last year, and even then he was like, if you don't want to do anything, if you're not comfortable, we don't have to. I just want to make a point of, he's never made me feel any pressure, and I think until we've got definitive answers to the question, I'm not discrediting what's happened. I don't know the ins and outs, and probably neither do you. I'm just here to give a balanced side of the story, you know what I mean? Just give you someone that's actually knows him, my side. I don't owe him anything either, you know, he's not asking me to do this, no one's pressuring me to do this. I just want to just say, let's all just calm down for a second until we know all the ins and outs, and my personal experiences is that he was fine with me.
Whoa. We're not here to talk about that right now.
I'm gonna pretend nothing's happened overnight. I'm the exact same as yous. I'm shocked. I don't know anything.
Just as shocked as every single one of yous, I can't lie. I don't know anything that yous don't. Literally, it was absolutely nuts for me to see. Obviously, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to get like held in contempt of court and shit, and you know what I mean. I ain't seen all this evidence and all stuff like that, so I don't want to say anything. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's get it out of the way.
What's good, Melly Kimmy? Welcome back to another lovely, beautiful, sexy, amazing video with the equally lovely, equally beautiful, equally sexy, and equally amazing LiTTy. I already know what time it is. Now let's go. Now guys, in today's video we're going to be breaking down all the latest details that have come out of the young Philly case, or should I say, the surviving R. Philly case. As it seems that he's now been released on bail, and there's a lot more people coming out to discuss the situation. And of course, we're going to break down everything in way more detail. But already know what you got to do. You just got to like, comment, subscribe, drop a banger like this one, and hit that note, because you ain't an idiot, so you can be the first to know one of these videos comes out. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, of course, if you've been living under a rock and don't know, the UK rapper and YouTuber Young Philly was arrested on Tuesday for multiple again, for all intensive purposes, we'll be referring to it as grape charges. And it seems like what we know so far is that young Philly has now been released from prison on bail. During this court hearing, Barrientos, which is young Philly's surname, was granted bail with strict conditions and a personal undertaking of 100,000 Australian dollars, which is 52,000 UK pounds, alongside a surety of another 100,000 Australian dollars, the PA news agency understands. Which, if you don't know what a surety is a sum of money that a third party, which they will call a surety, guarantees to pay the court if a defendant fails to appear in court as scheduled. So basically 52,000 to get released from jail and then another 52,000 in case he doesn't show up to the next court date they've scheduled. And I believe the further conditions of his bail also state that he has to report to the police station every day, which is what we see him doing in this clip here. He's obviously not allowed to leave Australia because I believe they said that Philly could be a potential flight risk, that if he does leave Australia, there's no telling if they'll even be able to get him back because Australia is basically on the other side of the world. He's of course not allowed to contact the victim in question, and he's also not allowed to go on social media and post anything about the case or discuss the case. I think he's not allowed to go on social media, full stop, I'll be real. Which is obviously why you haven't seen him come out and say anything or make a video or address the situation. Now, the case has been listed in Perth Magistrates Court on December 19th at 9:30 AM for a committal mention, which means that Philly is not only wanted down under, but he is trapped down under until further notice. And honestly, it's not looking good, bruv. If he actually gets convicted, that means he'll basically be spending Christmas in jail, which is crazy. Now, another thing I've been seeing going around a lot on social media is that the Australian prosecution team are claiming that they have strong CCTV evidence to support their claim of young Philly being guilty of this. Now, I don't think this means what everyone thinks it means. I don't think they've got young Philly on CCTV forcing himself into her, you know what I mean? I don't even think that would be allowed in any hotel room. What they probably have on some CCTV, if I had to assume, is him probably doing some weird, ungodly behavior in the hotel hallway and the girl just looking a bit uncomfortable, or maybe he's, I don't know, touching her inappropriately in the hallway and she's looking like she don't want to go in the hotel room anymore. But for all we know, I could be wrong. They could literally have a video of him dragging her through the hotel room to dragging her through the hotel hallway to his room. Like, he could be caught in that much 4K, which I can't lie. If they have that video, Philly is absolutely barbecued for life.
Yeah, that's true. Now let's go back to my nigger on the floor.
Now, of course, in true Surviving Our Philly fashion, a slew of girls have been popping out of the woodworks, expressing their bad experiences with young Philly. You've got this girl on Twitter saying that he bit her friend outside the club or something like that, which, to be honest, I don't really know what that means. I don't know if that's a euphemism or if he actually bit her like the Mike Tyson ear thing. Then you have this girl called Lily Phillips who said the following.
So many people are like, I cannot believe it. I absolutely can. I so can. Like, I always got weird vibes from him. I knew it.
And to be honest, when I see stuff like this, I just think like, bro, just shut up. No, you didn't. You didn't predict that he would end up being on the register. Maybe you got weird vibes from Philly, sure. But saying you knew he would end up here, or it's just a bit disingenuous. I mean, let's be real. If you knew he would end up doing what he's done, allegedly, and you didn't say anything until now, you're kind of part of the problem, I'll be real.
I'm just saying.
Actually, I'm being informed that this is just a corn star who's trying to funnel people to her OnlyFans, so completely ignore what she has to say. But other people who've been saying stuff like this, that statement still applies. But the real concerning thing that I've seen on social media, and I can't believe this flew so under the radar, is that they're trying to say young Philly was linking 17-year-olds.
What? What are you talking about?
Say it ain't so. Take a look at this clip.
I feel like I've got a song. People might not like all my songs, but then out of the, let's say, 10 that you like one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And if I don't, then what's
happening? You're allowed to say.
Okay.
I don't think no one actually gets offended when you say music shit, you know?
I think some people really
do. Because I don't think the person would release it if they wasn't aware that they can receive an opinion.
So it looks like Philly was, you know, messaging the girl on IG and whatnot. Now, at first, you would think that this could be fake or fabricated because it shows she was getting messages from David Bunme as well. And then next thing you know, she's at Philly's crib and he's asking her for his opinion on the tunes. Like, I'm absolutely flabbergasted. Now, of course, let's keep things in perspective. There's no actual saying of how old this girl really is. We can't really confirm that from the video. She does look like she's got results day the next day, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's not looking good, bruv. Now, I know there's some very grimy individuals out there who will try to remind me that the legal age of consent in the UK is 16. And for people who don't know, yes, this is true. A 16-year-old can legally have sex with anyone who's older than her or him. I believe the only time it becomes illegal is when they have sex with someone in a position of power, like a school teacher, police officer, you know, things of that nature. And so those people would say, technically, Philly hasn't done anything illegal. And to those people, I say,
you are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
You make me sick. A 26-year-old linking a 17-year-old is like wiping your ass with your pillow. Legal? Yes. Morally right? Absolutely not, mate. But again, this is all alleged because we've got no way to prove that this girl actually was 17. Now, unfortunately, the Philly Brick Road pause goes even further as another girl has made a claim regarding Philly's ungodly antics. And well, take a look at this clip.
So the club was literally in town. I lived in town. So me and this other girl, we were in the club where Philly was. And as soon as she left, my friend that was going to get ready to go see him, as soon as she left, Philly started like whining on some other girl. Even though all that night, like he was like, you know, telling my friend like, oh, you know, come back with me.
Wait, but were they together or not?
No, they weren't together. Like they just used to see each other. So every time they go to a club together, they see each other on the same night. They'd always leave together, like always, yeah. So anyways, so that happened, and so I messaged her, told her like, look, he's literally whining on some other girl. She comes back within like 5-10 minutes because I didn't live too far, and next minute he's messaging her saying, oh, come to the car, I'm leaving. And he's literally messaging her like abuse, like saying like, I'm leaving you, I don't care, like, you know. And so I've got a video of this, by the way. So we go to the back of the club, me and my friend, and then the girl that's going back with Philly, like she gets in his car and he's literally shouting at her saying like, no, get out, I don't want you here anymore, like you're taking your time, whatever. So anyways, later that night, it was around like 3 a.m, she goes to his hotel, she rings me and she's like whispering, she's saying like, oh, like Siren, can you come like get an Uber from me, like whatever. And I was like, are you okay? And she said, no, like, you know, I need to go. And she's like, actually no, wait, 1 minute. Anyways, so later that morning she told me what actually happened. So she wanted to leave around 3 a.m. when she called me, but then she said, oh, you're either staying and take your clothes off or you're leaving. So she stayed because they had history and she just felt like, you know, he had all this power. Like she felt so gullible in the moment. And when she told me that story like 8 a.m, like she came literally to my place, makeup on, everything, like from the night before. She was like, can I just
OMG, you listen to that?
Now, I will be honest, the girl in this video kind of just said a whole load of nothing. She said Philly was chatting to a girl in the club, and then when that girl left, he got a wine from someone else, which, to be honest, happens in the club every day. Not that deep. Then that girl he was getting a wine from, she was going to come in the car and she said, I don't want you in the car anymore. And then he took the other girl instead. Again, happens every day. Morally wrong, yeah, but not indicative of the register. And then he said, oh, she said they were in the house together, and then she was going to leave. And then Philly said, you're either leaving or you're taking all your clothes off. And then she decided to stay because she felt like he had so much power. Come on, mate. Philly's like 5'5". Like, what are we talking about? So much power. If you're looking at young Philly and thinking he's got so much power, I can't lie, there's no hope for you. In that story, he basically gave you an option. He said either stay, take off your clothes, or leave. If you stay, then that's by your own choice. It's different if you said, oh, he said you're not leaving, you're staying here and you're taking off your clothes. But he said you're either taking off your clothes or you're leaving. He gave you the choice to leave. So I'm sorry, we can't use that as a way to indicate that Philly was going to end up on the register. I'm sorry, like when things are making sense, I'm gonna say it's making sense. But when it just sounds like a reach, I have to call it for both ways. I'm completely neutral in the situation, so I'm gonna point out the indiscrepancies where I can. And then finally, we actually do have a girl coming to Philly's defense who claims that she rekindled with young Philly at the recent Misfits boxing event. Take a look at this clip.
Speaking last year, can't give you really time frames, and rekindled at Misfits. I actually know Philly, so at least the people that are watching this can have something based on someone that actually knows him. And it was actually, I'm going to make a point of saying this, there was a point where he was like, if you don't want to do anything, if you don't want to, bear in mind we'd spoken last year, we'd been seeing each other last year, and even then he was like, if you don't want to do anything, if you're not comfortable, we don't have to. Let's all just calm down for a second until we know all the ins and outs. And my personal experience is that he was fine with me.
I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
Yeah, let me translate the situation Shippanese there. She was basically saying she was dealing with Philly. They clarted last year, then they rekindled, aka they clarted again this year. And throughout all those times of her getting that Philly Willy pause, he didn't make her feel like she had to free it up, which I guess is good in a way because she's going against the whole narrative being spread around that Philly has been given the signs that he was a predator and whatnot. But I'm sure on the other angle, people will say that, you know, just because he made you feel comfortable doesn't mean that he couldn't have made this other girl not feel comfortable, you know what I mean? Which I can hear both sides of the argument from that perspective. But I'm not trying to sway people's opinion. I don't know if he's innocent or guilty. I'm just giving you guys the facts, and you guys can come to your own conclusions on what you think about the situation. But if I had to summarize everything that I've seen so far, at the moment, it's not looking good for Philly, I'll be real. It seems like everyone is coming out to share their quote-unquote negative experiences they are having with young Philly. Some people seems a bit more genuine, whilst other people just seem like they're clout chasing. But either way, it's negative publicity all across the board. And actually, as I mentioned in my last video, some of these instances on their own don't sound too bad. Some of them sound a bit weird. Some of them sound like things that morally aren't that great, but some of them don't sound like things that would be indicative of someone ending up on the register. Apart from the 17-year-old one. That one should be raising more alarm bells than Chicken Little, I'll be real. That one, if that one's true, Philly, you're done out here, I'll be real. Now, we were all wondering when Chunks will come out and speak on the situation, and so far, Chunks actually hasn't said a word, which honestly is not a good sign at all. But a couple people who have spoke out are Philly's friends, Angry Ginge and Taze, who I believe he streams with Philly on multiple occasions, and they play FIFA and pro clubs together. I think they got their things called Girth and Turth, which pause, I should have said a pause before saying that, and I will say a pause after saying that. And yeah, names like that aren't really helping your case, Philly. I can't lie, bro. I can't lie. If I'm the Australian prosecutor and I'm seeing Girth and Turf, I'm thinking, what's going on, mate? Now, they've both come out and basically made video statements where, for the average Joe, it seems like they're saying a whole bunch of nothing. But I think if you read between the lines, you'll be able to ascertain the situation. Angry Jin just said, and I quote, "He can't speak on legal proceedings right now," which, let's be honest, sounds like it's come straight out of the lawyer's mouth. And Taze has pretty much said the same thing as well. So I'm going to assume this is what's happened. Either Philly's lawyer and/or Ginge and Taze's lawyer have spoken to the guys and said they shouldn't make any comments on it because they could be found guilty of contempt of court, which, if you don't know, is when someone risks unfairly influencing a court case by speaking out, you know, saying whether they think, I guess in this scenario would be saying whether they think Philly's innocent or guilty, or saying stuff like, oh no, my bro would never do something like that, like etc, etc. That could negatively influence the court case, even though it's all the way out in Australia. Obviously, social media, we live in a global society, so everyone can see everything, you know what I mean? So they probably said it's best if they keep quiet about the whole situation until there's a verdict made on the case, which I guess is fair enough. I guess for now, we really just have to wait and see until more information comes out about the case. We'll have to see what the evidence is that's being placed against Philly, and then we'll all be able to make our own judgments. But I will say this again, and I would like to regurgitate this pause. Everyone, I think it's only right that we do keep an open mind on the situation. I don't think we should be reserving saying whether someone's innocent or guilty based on their past actions or based on any. We need to see the information. Just because Philly may have been acting a bit weird before doesn't necessarily mean that he's guilty. And also on the other end, just because he has treated girls right in the past doesn't mean that he couldn't have not treated this one right as well. So it works both ways. I think we just keep an open mind, just remain neutral in the situation until more information comes out. The last thing you want to do is be going around saying he's innocent or saying he's guilty, and then the real verdict comes out and you look like an idiot. Like, but in the words of Heady One,
it's a bit of a sticky one still.
But let me know if you think about this in the comment section down below. What do you think about this situation? Do you think Philly's innocent or guilty? Let me know in the comment section down below. I know that kind of just goes against what I just said, but it is what it is. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the road to 3,000 subs. You know what time it is. You can follow my personal IG at LiTTyENT. If you care about what I do, I'm not making these bangers for you. I post updates on Twitter as well, so you might as well follow me on there, because what else are you doing with your life? Absolutely nothing, mate. I bet. Peace.
Oh, you ain't know I could sing.